first edition of our Tasmanian Devil news on our brand new Tasmanian Devil channel. And the stars of the show are our Tasmanian Devils. Now, these creatures are found only in Tasmania. They're about the size of a small dog, and the females have a pouch like a kangaroo, so they're marsupials. Now, the interesting thing about them is that they have been around here for a lot longer than we have. In fact, once upon a time, they were spread right around Australia. But then, about 10 or 15,000 years ago, the ice melted and the seas rose and Tasmania became isolated. It became an island. So there was a population of Tasmanian devils here and one in the rest of Australia. But then something disastrous happened. Unfortunately, some people brought in a wild dog from Asia. It's called the dingo. It's not a native Tasmanian or Australian animal. It is in fact an intruder. And the sad thing is, it's a real killer. So it swept across Australia, eating lots and lots of little native animals. And unfortunately, the poor old Tasmanian devil lost its food source and it became extinct. But not in Tasmania, because the dingo didn't ever arrive here. So that's why this extraordinary animal, Sarcophilus harrisii, the Tasmanian devil, is now found only on the island of Tasmania. So everything was humming along beautifully until about 20 years ago, when disaster nearly struck. An extraordinary disease was discovered that was affecting only Tasmanian devils. It's called devil facial tumour disease. And this disease, unfortunately, has wiped out about 80% of our wild Tasmanian devils. And it's caused by biting. Now, Tasmanian devils naturally bite each other at feeding time and also at mating time. It might seem strange behaviour, but that's normal for a Tasmanian devil. Now, about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, one devil ended up having cancer. And this cancer cells ended up in the saliva, and when that devil number one, bit devil number two, it transferred the cancer. And the immune system in Tasmanian devil number two didn't recognise it as a cancer, because the cancer had sneaked through the immune system. So what happened was that the cancer had spread from devil number one to devil number two. And then devil number two bit devil number three, and devil number three bit devil number four. And so it spread right through the population, except down here on our isolated Tasman Peninsula. Now, this peninsula is almost an island. It's separated from the rest of Tasmania by a canal at the town of Dunalley, and also a really narrow neck of land, which is only just a few kilometres up the way here. It's called Eaglehawk Neck. And the disease hasn't reached this area. And so we know all about isolating. We know all about contagious diseases, because we've been working to save the famous Tasmanian devil for many, many years now. We're going to go and have a look at how this isolation has managed to save a really important population of wild Tasmanian devil.
So this disease has been around since about 1996, and it has infected most of the population across Tasmania, across the mainland of Tasmania. So to my left is mainland Tasmania. So the disease has been found all across Tasmania. However, there is a healthy population still completely disease-free, and that's across the water here. So we've got the canal that runs through here, and across the water is our Tasman Peninsula. So we have a lovely barrier that's stopping the disease from travelling from the mainland to the Tasman Peninsula. So we have the last truly wild, healthy population of Tasmanian devils left in the entire world. They can, however, cross the bridge that's behind me, but we do have cameras in place to monitor that. There's also a second barrier, so we're going to show you that now. Here we are at that second barrier. So this is a Tasmanian devil fence, specially designed as a second reassurance that there's no diseased devils coming onto the Tasman Peninsula. Where the canal may have been there for over 100 years, this is a more recent addition, just to completely make sure that none of those diseased devils from mainland Tasmania are making it onto the Tasman Peninsula. Now, it also goes all the way out into the sea to make sure no Tasmanian devils are swimming around onto the peninsula. Here we are at the spectacular lookout at Pirates Bay. You can see the beautiful rugged landscape all the way down the Tasman region here. Now we've also got a very narrow piece of land just down a little bit further there called Eaglehawk Neck, which actually separates and is another barrier for our Tasmanian devils. So the disease, the devil facial tumour disease, did actually make it to this part of the peninsula. However, those diseased devils were removed. The disease didn't quite make it to the second part of the Tasman Peninsula. And we're going to show you our special project to protect those devils, our Devil Tracker program. Here we are on the neighbouring farms, just across from the Tasmanian Devil Unzoo. We're going to take our trusty Land Rover up into the hills to see what devil action's been happening overnight. Now this beautiful pasture supplies food for all our sheep and cattle, and it backs on to this lovely dry sclerophyll forest, which is ideal territory for our Tasmanian devils. So we're going to head up into the forest and check our cameras. They're very high-tech cameras, and make sure none of the devil population here have contracted that devil facial tumour disease. Now one of the signs that we know devils have been about, Tassie devil scats. So we've got a lightly sort of grey coloured scat, bit of fur in there. Now that's all due to their diet. Now this is just an example of some of the stuff that we show our visitors here on the Devil Tracker tours. Now let's see what's been happening last night on our cameras. We'll head up through the bush now. So here we are at the feeding site. Now we've got the infrared camera behind me, so this is a really non-invasive way of telling whether our Tassie devils will have any of that cancerous tumour. Now we've got a stake in the ground, we've got our food here. Now we only have a small amount of food, so it just supplements their diet. They don't rely on it. And this is the most non-invasive way that we can check that our wild population of devils is completely disease-free. We have numerous cameras throughout the bush here on the Tasman Peninsula. Now these are special cameras. They can see at night time, so they're infrared as to not to disturb our wild Tasmanian devils. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to replace our memory card so that we have heaps of storage and heaps of battery on this camera so it will get through the night, and we'll check what we've captured last night down at the tracker hut. When we bring our visitors here, we want them to learn all about the devil facial tumour disease. We get them up to speed on exactly what's happening with the disease. As you can see from this map, the disease has been detected all across the state, except for this little spot down here, down in the southeast corner on the Tasman Peninsula where we are. Now we want to keep it that way, and that's why we're here. We're here to monitor our wild Tassie devil population. So we do that using our cameras, we get our images, we check those on a daily basis. So what we're looking for is those tumours, making sure our wild devils have no tumours that usually occur around the neck, the face, and they basically have these big large lesions, and they tend to die within about 5 months of contracting the disease. Now as you can see, we've got the image here, and the devil is clear of the disease. We've been doing this for about 6 years. And as yet, we have no diseased devils, and we want to keep it that way. And that's our Devil Tracker program. Now it's really vital that we keep this program running, because if the disease is detected on the peninsula, we're going to have to swing into action to protect the last truly wild, healthy devil population left in the entire world. We're passionate, and we hope you will be too.
So that's our vital Devil Tracker project, to save the wild Tasmanian devils. And it's interesting that these wild devils and all the other wild animals of the district around here can come and go from our unzoo, because one of the principles of an unzoo is you don't have a boundary. There's no big fence around the outside. And we welcome the local wild animals, the wallabies and the possums, and also the parrots. And Kira's just been going around and meeting some of these.
Hey guys, I just came down here to introduce you to our beautiful Tasmanian forest deers kangaroos, and something really special started happening behind me. Now, here is a mum and a joey, and the joey's just having a little feed of milk. So as you can see, these kangaroos' pouches aren't obvious like they are in the cartoons. You can barely see where they start. This little guy's just stuck his head right in there for a little drink. Now mum will probably be having another baby soon, and then this little guy won't be allowed to have any more milk, but he's getting in there while he can. And these are the wild cousins of the kangaroos we just met. These guys are called Tasmanian paddy melons, and they're the most abundant of the native wildlife we have here in Tasmania. Now, we have no boundary fences here at the Unzoo, so these guys can come and go as they please. They're completely wild, but they are quite used to us here. We spend a lot of time building trust with the wildlife here so that we can get up close to them. Now let's go and meet some of our other wild friends. So these are our Tasmanian native hens, another of our endemic species in Tasmania. These guys are flightless birds. They still retain their wings for a very funny reason though. They do run quite quickly, and as you can see from the shape of them, if they turned a corner quite quickly they would fall down. So they actually pop their wings out and look like little aeroplanes as they turn corners. It's very, very funny. These guys in Tasmania are known as turbo chooks, just because of how fast they run. Now these guys are completely wild. These are green rosellas. They are found only, come here mate, come on. They are found only in Tasmania. Here we go. Now these guys are free to come and go as they please, but they choose to live and breed here at the Unzoo, which we find pretty special. They know that we have pockets full of delicious sunflower seeds for them, so they generally come over and pester us quite a lot. These three with me here, they have just fledged in the last year or so, and they are becoming quite troublesome.
So that's it for this week, the first edition on our brand new Tasmanian Devil channel. We hope you've enjoyed it. Next time, we'll be bringing you some more stories about the fascinating Tasmanian Devil. You'll meet some more creatures that live around our Unzoo, and we'll also be going out into the countryside. Fantastic scenery, maybe a wonderful sunset or two. They're just wonderful around this area, and we'll introduce you to one of the local characters. So thanks very much for listening. Make sure you subscribe, tell your friends, so we can let you know when we're going to produce the next edition on our brand new Tasmanian Devil channel. Thanks for joining us this time. We'll see you soon.